Hey guys, I know I just recorded a vid for you guys not too long ago, but some slight things have changed since then. So I figured I'd probably better let you in on my foolishness or lack of foolishness. I'm not really sure which it is. I guess the next couple of weeks will let me know. So through the security company I was a part of, I was working at a place that furnishes electricity to people. I'm not going to name which one. It's listed as critical infrastructure, as is the next place that I will be going to. But yeah, you probably caught that. The next place that I will be going to. So the new security company came in a little late. As I said, the first day that I showed up for the job that I was at, I was informed that the security company I was working for had lost the contract for that facility. Now, I had 100% planned to stay on that facility and work it and just stay there. A couple of things blew that up. So this new security company comes in, and quite frankly, while filling out their paperwork, I'm like, why am I getting tips on material handling and call center and less tips on security and how to do all that? Then I found out that, now, mind you, this whole entire time, I have not had access to the equipment that, I think I mentioned this last one, the equipment that I need to be able to do my job. So the contract ended on the 30th. The 27th, they still don't have all this, okay? They're still trying to shoehorn me into this job that I do not have the equipment for, don't really have much training for. I have some. The people I was working with, they did try to train me, but there's only so much they can train me with, considering I don't have my own equipment. So we can't do test runs, we can't do any of that to see if I know how to handle myself in a crisis. And nobody really, except for the managers and things that I was working with directly, seemed to care much about that happening until literally the last minute. So they're wanting to put me, there was a guy who was leaving, in fact the first guy that I worked with, he was staying with the old security company. He was moving on with the old security company to another job. And I got a look at my schedule on the 26th and the 27th, and they were like, you're going to be working his position. So once again, no equipment, no update on when this equipment's going to happen, none of that. I'm going to be working his schedule, and it seems they've rearranged the hours again. So 5 days a week, 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. So I have 3 jobs. I have my family, I have my schoolwork, and of course I have my job. So this job was asking me to take $1 raise more, which in many ways hurts me because it removes my EBT. It might mess with my husband's medical. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it doesn't, but that's a possibility. Now they're asking me to do schoolwork and them, and that's it. Because that's what it's going to boil down to. That's what my husband's going to say. You need to do your schoolwork, and you need to go to your job, and blah, blah, blah. So I don't get to see my family, except at maybe 2 days a week. That won't last very long. I won't be able to see much of them, but I'll get to see them 2 days a week. I have to figure out how to feed them. And of course, I'm one of the few people there that actually has 2 kiddos still at home and all of that. So, I mean, First of all, I hate swing shift to begin with. Even when I didn't have kids, I hated it. But now they're going, oh, well, you have 3 jobs, but one of them gets to fall by the wayside. It ain't us. And I already know my husband's going to say, it's not school. So that's what I'm looking forward to. There seemed to be no negotiation. I was fired up when I saw all this. I was completely fired up. I was not the slightest bit happy at all. So I did the number one thing I never do. I squawked. I went and talked to the head guy that runs that runs security there. And I was like, what is this? And he was like, well, you're taking over blah, blah, blah's job. And I'm like, that's great. What is this? This isn't going to work. I would be happy to go back to 4/12s and at least get 3 days where I get to see my family, as opposed to practically no days to see my family, and be able to feed them and take care of them and all that good stuff. I'm like, 5 is just a little bit much. And I'm not getting any overtime because there's like no overtime. I mean, this country's like, oh, we don't do overtime. Okay, great. So I'm taking a hit with pay. I'm getting a whole $1 more. That's not really going to help with anything because now I'm going to have maybe 1 to 2 more bills coming my way. Because with EBT, of course, the internet thing goes away. So I'm right back to paying $80-90 for internet again. I mean, there's just, I'm going to have to take on a lot more. I was like, these hours don't work. I'm getting $1 more. And he's like, but you get to be in this position. I'm like, and literally there is no raise for that position. And I will not be able to see my family. I'm not going to be able to do any overtime to make up for this. This sucks, and something needs to happen because this is not going to work. I still don't have the equipment I need to be able to do this, but you're expecting me to do it. And if something goes wrong, I'm the one who's left holding the bag. Nobody's going to go, well, why wasn't she trained in this? Or how come she didn't have this before? They're going to go, she has it now. She should know this. So the response I got, I'm working on it. I was not amused. So this is after, literally, I got off on Monday. Okay, now I supposedly have Monday, Tuesday. It's the only 2 days I have off, but technically I only have a day and a half because of how graveyard works. And I got home on Monday, and my phone is blowing up before I even get a chance to wake up, wanting to see if I will come in and work that night or the next morning. Actually, they wanted me to work 8 hours, but I'm like, no. So I wound up working Tuesday morning, 5 to 9. They start blowing up my phone again, wanting to know if I could do this, or thinking I could do the same thing. Well, it wasn't my phone so much as my email, but I actually called them, seeing if I basically had agreed to doing the same thing on Wednesday. Now, Wednesday I'm going back to work, and I'm working our patrol, which is slightly different hours, but I'm only working like 6 hours, which is weird. So I'm like working 11 p.m. to 5 p.m. On Wednesday, but my phone is like blowing up on Tuesday. Oh, hey, did you agree to work Wednesday morning? And I'm like, no, I work Wednesday night. And they're like, oh, okay. And then on Wednesday, I get a call asking if I can come in early because whoever it was that was supposed to be doing patrol wasn't there. And I'm receiving this call while in the grocery store. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys are not going to be doing overtime at all. That's not going to happen. literally both of my days off, and even a day where I'm supposed to be coming back on, my phone is being blown up every day, once to twice a day. And I'm like, so I don't mind scheduled overtime. I don't like being called constantly, which has become a thing. I don't mind scheduled overtime, but this is crazy. So I'm going to be working where I never get to see my family. I'll be able to cram my schoolwork, but I won't be able to do much else. I won't be able to control what everybody here is eating because gosh knows if I let these guys go, they're not going to eat anything but junk. And I'm going to be getting a $1 raise, which is going to kill my EBT completely. Might kill my husband's shit, but I don't receive any overtime, so I find no way to make up for this at all. I don't find any way to generate extra money that might actually help me because groceries are expensive. And then to boot, I'm going to get called still, even with the no overtime clause, I'm going to get called at all hours when I'm supposed to be asleep so that I can come in and shift somebody else's stuff for them. Oh, and bonus, I might actually start work with no equipment whatsoever to help me out. And I'm going to be left holding the bag at the end of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. I showed up at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, and I was not the slightest bit amused. So I talked with the boss and got even more, well, more unamused, I guess is the way to put it. Less amused is a good way to put it. Because he basically just blew me off. So I was talking with the first guy that I was working with, the guy who is moving on with the old security company. Now, I've turned in my notice, I've done all of that. And he was like, so if this is such bullshit, why don't you just come, or why don't you just stay with Phoenix? And I'm like, I've already turned in my notice. And he was like, you can undo that. He was like, I'm going to go work with transit. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do transit. That's one of the reasons why with this other security company, I didn't do transit. I don't want to be a transit cop. And he was like, no, doing the exact same thing we're doing here. He was like, but they'll start you off the gate and get you trained and everything right away instead of making you wait for it like they've been doing. And I was like, huh. I'll go talk with him in the morning. So Thursday morning, as soon as I got off of work, I hung out. Then I drove to Auburn. It's about 40 minutes away. Just to ask a couple questions. I walked in the door, and I was like, this is what's happening. This is what I need to know about this. Do you have any openings left? What is going on with that? So it turns out they had openings. It's 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off. They're 12s. You pretty much get about 4 hours worth of overtime every 2 weeks as it is. And they had openings. It's in Seattle. I can't drive down there and park, which I wouldn't want to drive down to Seattle anyway. So I'd probably be taking transit. 12 hours would probably be more along the lines of 14 and a half hours of travel. But I get paid $2 more. You could probably guess what my answer was. So I came home, talked with hubby, and we both agreed it'd be a bit of a hardship. You know, the whole 14 hours. He's like, you're going to be dead. And I'm like, I know. I said, and I know 3 days, 4 days, 4 days, 3 days, you know, but it's not 5, and it's not a constant of I never see anybody. I can actually pre-plan for these things. And he was like, very true. Very true. So I got the ball rolling on Thursday. By the time noon rolled around and I had to go to bed because I had to work that evening, yeah. So I'm staying with the old security company. Now, albeit I've been telling them this whole entire time that, and they've known that I was staying on the site that I was at, and I was coming on with the new security company. the old security company did not let them know that they were keeping me. So I walk in, and one of the morning supervisors and the guy who's been training me this whole entire time, they were like, okay, we're going to be trying out this password and this, that. Of course, none of it worked. And the whole entire time, I'm like, guys, I'm guessing nobody told you. None of this is necessary. And they were like, what? So I had to break the news that I'm staying on with the old security company about a day and a half before the contract ends. I have never done anything like this before in my life. Never. And I told him if I had known what the transit position was, if I had known what was going on, I probably would have gotten them better prepared 2 weeks ago and let them know that I was going with the old company. But that didn't happen. And unfortunately, the answers that I got from my current company, from my current management, doesn't suffice, didn't cut it. Now, they were shocked. They were rather upset, and I don't really blame them. I literally yanked away somebody who was guaranteed 40 hours and a bit of a linchpin for them at about a day and a half before the contract ends. I totally get it. I would never in a million years do something like that normally. There has been plenty of times when I haven't. There's been plenty of times where I have had better offered at me, but because I'd already promised that I was going to do this or I was going to do that, I stayed on the path I was on, wound up getting burned, wound up getting bit anyway, wound up being abused. That's what was going to happen here from the behavior afterwards. So, the one guy steps out, the morning supervisor, who's going to be becoming head of the site. He stepped out to go speak with the current head of the site, the guy that I talked to on Wednesday, who wasn't very forthcoming or very helpful. So he texted me to confirm what was going on. Well, he tried to call, but the call didn't come through, so I let him know, sorry, so what's going on? And he was like, I just wanted to call to make sure that that's what's happening. I'm like, yep, that's what's happening. And he was like, okay. It's the only day where I was working at 12. So I come out at 9 o'clock at night, leaving at 9 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't say anything again until about 6 o'clock in the morning. Then all of a sudden he wants to negotiate. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, you had a chance to negotiate or work with me. I mean, I literally came up to you and I'm like, I am the person who never squawks. I am the person who never does shit. I am also the person who shows up early, leaves late, never calls in sick, comes in most of the time to make up for other people, and I never yell and jump up and down. This doesn't work. And got, But now he wants to negotiate. Told him no, that's okay. That's okay. So my last night there, I literally only worked 3 hours. My badge was turned off before I even got in the door. I actually had to call them and tell them they had to let me in. That was the ultimate in petty. The ultimate in petty. It's also what told me that probably was a good idea, because if they got the inkling that somebody else could have taken me, or just the very fact that I jumped up and down and went, what the fuck, I could have been punished for it later. I normally follow the path that gets me hurt. That gets me punished for staying with the guy, or the company, or the whatever. Staying with the employer that I know staying with them will probably be a bad idea because of disorganization, because of mismanagement, because they get used to me you know, picking up the slack and taking care of things. And the second I don't, I start getting into trouble. Some new upstart comes in and I'm left holding the bag whenever this guy screws up. That's usually the way things go for me. This time, instead of staying on the path that heads down the middle, I kind of stepped off and then stepped back on again, changing the direction of the course. I don't know how that's going to work out. I do know, though, that from the reaction and from the behavior, that I am rather glad that even though it was only 2 days' notice, and I do feel bad about that, I am rather glad that I went with the old security company. $2 more. 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off. They're going to be 14-hour days. That's going to suck. Getting there is going to be a pain in the ass. Literally, I am going an entire week because from the 1st through the 8th, I'm not working. So I'm taking $1,000 hit right out the gate. So the new computer I was planning on getting probably isn't going to happen for a while. And like I said, groceries are expensive, so EBT is going to be a real huge pain in the ass. They might offer some overtime. I don't know. But I have to do something, and quite frankly, I come in and my badge is shut off, and from the way the upper management is behaving, they're all pissed off, except the two guys, the morning guy who's now taking over as head of site, and the guy who trained me, who's not very happy at all. I felt so bad for him. He's not happy at all. And he's also not surprised. Which I told him, I'm like, I surprised me. This is not something I would normally pull. I mean, I would normally just stay with you and just kind of suck it up and hope I wouldn't be punched in the face further, only to get punched in the face more. This time, if anybody's punching anyone in the face, it's going to be me punching myself in the face, but at least it's me punching myself in the face. Yeah. So I'm going to get off of here. I can't believe I sat here and talked bullshit for like 23 minutes now. It was close to. But yeah, I'm literally going to be spending the next week cramming, trying to get ahead. And I've already figured out how I'm going to get there and what time I have to leave and blah, 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 blah. It's going to be scary. I'm going to be broke for the next, this next upcoming week. I'm going to be stupid broke. But I'm hoping this will all work out. A little bit better than I got the feeling that this last one would have. The security company made me feel uncomfortable. They waited till way too late to step in. And then there's the fact that these guys were planning to shove me into a job they had not prepared me for with the things I needed to do the job. So I'm hoping this is a better decision. Keep your fingers crossed for me. My eldest starts summer school on the 5th. I'm still cramming school, and I can't get a hold of Netflix right now, but that's okay. I'll probably have to start it back up again, though, because I am watching Shadow and Bone, though I think I watch it for all the wrong reasons. I do not watch it for the two main characters, the Sun Summoner and her opposite, and her boyfriend. I don't watch for them. I watch for the crows. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong. But right now I can't watch them. Whoops. I'll figure that out later, though. Right now I am going to get off of here. I'm going to spend a little bit of time with my husband, and then I'm going to spend the next week cramming and trying to get schoolwork out of the way, and then start applying for scholarships so I can start the next term. So keep your fingers crossed for me, guys. It's going to be crazy. I guarantee it. It's going to be crazy, but hopefully in a good way. But I figured I'd probably better let you guys in on that, because I guess that's pretty big. I guess. Fingers crossed, right? So, wish me and my eldest luck as he goes to summer school, and I leap from one frying pan straight into another fire, but with the same security company that I started out with. And I hope you all have a good 4th of July and a good week. I'm not really sure how I'm going to be celebrating 4th, because there's a lot of things that are not celebratory right now. So I think I'll just hang out with my family, and I will have as good a time as I possibly can, while at the same time steadily cramming schoolwork. So until I see you all, which hopefully is soon, because I'm answering comments and posts, until I see you, take good care of yourselves, take good care of each other, know that I love you.